Good morning, dear students. How are you all? I hope you all are fine. So let's start today's learning. Yesterday we have started a new topic that was major landforms. Okay? And what we learned yesterday? We learned that our earth is not uniform in all the places. It is higher at some places as well as lower at some places. So just because our earth is not equal at all places, there are different types of landforms are found, and they are known as the relief features of the earth. They are mountains, and in this chapter we will learn about the mountains, plateaus, plains, deserts and rivers. We also learned about the mountains. Mountains are landforms which are higher from the area around them, and they are very high, and mountains are having the steeps and sloping sides. As I told you yesterday, this is the steep and sloping sides, and their top is known as the peak, and these peaks are sometimes conical and sometimes they are round in shape. And hills are small mountains. They are not higher as the mountains. So the small mountains are known as the hills. A group of mountains that are joined together and form a chain that is known as a range. As I told you yesterday, that whenever we draw any of the scenery or landscape, we draw like this. And if some of you have gone to mountains, you have noticed that the mountains are continuously seen there. So that is known as the range. And the example of this range or chain of the mountains is Himalaya in India and Andes in Europe. Mountains are different in height and shape, because some mountains are having the conical peaks. They are the new mountains, and the mountains which are rounded peaks like this, they are the old mountains. They are Aravali in India, example of old mountains, and Himalayas also in India is the example of new mountains. So some features of the mountains which we learned, that mountains is always covered with snow, and just because the mountains are at the higher altitude, there the weather is always remain very cold or pleasant, and mountains are also thinly populated. Fine. And mostly people live not on the higher mountains but at the foothills of the mountains, because there the temperature or the weather is good for living, and the mountains act as a natural barrier for the cold and hot winds. And mountains are also source of many rivers. Obviously, when the snow is falling there, then the mountains, many rivers originate from the mountains. And there are many dense forests which are the house of wild animals. In mountains we also get the minerals. And mountains are also developing as the tourist spots, because people love to go to spend time there in their vacations or in their free time. Fine. So they are developing as the tourist spots. Some places are developing as the tourist spots. So next landform which we will learn, this is the plateaus. Plateaus are also the highlands. They are highlands like the mountains. Like mountains are looking like this. They are having the conical peaks or the round peaks, but the plateaus are also highland, but they are having the flat tops. They look like this. So that's why, because they are flat from the top, they are also known as the table land. Fine. Now see, they are separated from the surrounding area by steep slopes. Already told you they are highland, but they are also having the steep slopes as the mountains are having. Fine. Several ranges, several rivers flow through the plateaus. As rivers started from the mountains, same as rivers also flow in the plateaus also. In some region, the rivers run down as waterfalls due to the steep slopes. But what happens sometime, rivers whenever they flow on these plateaus, they whenever they fell down, they make a form a waterfall. You know what is waterfall? When the water is fallen from the great height, that is known as a waterfall. Waterfalls are in mountains also as well as in the plateaus also. Now we will see what are the features of plateaus. The vegetation in plateaus differ from region to region. Low plateaus are often suitable for agriculture, while high plateaus are usually suitable for cattle and sheep rearing. If we will go in the plateau area, their vegetation, mean to say plants, are different types. It depends upon where the plateaus are. If the plateaus are at the lower land, then they are good for growing the crops. But if the plateaus are at a high altitude, then there the cattle and sheep rearing can be done easily. But the agriculture is difficult there. Growing crops is difficult in the plateaus which are at the higher altitude or which are at the great height. Some plateaus are extremely large and cover hundreds of kilometers. For example, the Deccan Plateau in India is a large plateau which extends over 8 states. Some plateaus are very large and they are spread over hundreds of kilometers. And here it is the example of Deccan Plateau of India is given, which is in the 8 states of India. As whenever we do the map, if you remember in the grade 4, we have done the map of the Deccan Plateau. So this is the lower part of India and the Deccan Plateau is all this part. Here the example of Deccan Plateau is given. So Deccan Plateau is here. Fine. So this whole part is the Deccan Plateau. And it is written that it is extended in the 8 states. Here Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha. Fine. So these all states are having the Deccan Plateau, where the Deccan Plateau is there. So it is obviously they are hundreds of kilometer spread it. Fine. Some plateaus are rich in minerals. For example, Chota Nagpur Plateau in India is rich in coal, iron, ore, bauxite, manganese and copper. This part of Deccan Plateau. See this part. This part of Deccan Plateau, it is rich of minerals. This is known as the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Chota Nagpur Plateaus. Here which minerals are found? Coal, iron, ore, bauxite, manganese and copper. These all minerals are found in the state which come under the Chota Nagpur Plateau. Fine. And some of the plateaus have deep canyons, such as the Grand Canyons in Colorado Plateau of the United States of America. Now what is the canyons? Canyons are the deep valley through which a river flows. You can see this picture. These are the plateaus. Okay, these are the Colorado plateaus in USA, in America, and these are known as the Grand Canyons, and here the rivers flow. Here the valley is there and the river is flowing. Fine. So this is all about the plateaus. Next is plains. Next landform which we will read about, plains. Plains are the large area of flat lands that extend over thousands of kilometers. Plains are the flat land. It is totally flat, but sometimes somewhere it is uneven. And mostly plains are extended to the thousands of kilometers. There are high or low points in plains. Sometimes they have a gentle slope. I already told you plains are not always totally flat, but they are sometimes uneven. Also, they are high or low at some points. They are having the gentle slope also. Plains are formed by rivers that rise in mountains and flow down. How the plains are formed? They are formed by the rivers which comes from the mountains, and they bring with them silt, sand and many other sediments, and these rivers deposited all these things on the river banks, and in this way the plains are formed. It is written also here, in the process rivers carry sand and silt along the deposit them on river banks. Fine. Over a period of time, plains are formed by the deposits. For example, northern plains in India have been formed by the river Ganga, Yamuna and its tributaries. As we have done already in the map, that the rivers which come from the northern mountains like Ganga, Yamuna and its tributaries, the rivers which are formed from the Ganga, Yamuna, they form the northern plains. They brought with them the sand and silt in the thousands of years, and they formed these plains which are known as the northern plains of India, where we live. Punjab is a part of northern plains. Plains can also be found near the sea. It is not always that plains are near the mountains always, because rivers form the plains, but plains can be found in the near the sea also and interiors of the continent. Mean to say, it can be within the continent, in the inner part of the continent also, as well as these plains can be found near the sea. The plains which are found near the sea, they are known as the coastal plains, as we have done already. As see this part here, we know Arabian Sea is there, here Bay of Bengal. So here the plains which are plains here, this part of India, they are known as the coastal plains. They are known as the coastal plains. And inner part plains which are here, they are the northern plains. We are northern plains. Now let's see the features of the plains. The silt deposited by the rivers make the plains very fertile and suitable for agriculture. Many crops are grown in the plains. Obviously, when the plains are formed by the rivers, they bring with them very good type of soil, and that soil is very good for growing the crops, and that soil name is alluvial soil. So that's why there are different types of crops are grown in the plains. Plains are thickly populated compared to mountains and plateaus. As we know that in mountains and plateau areas very less people live, but in plains, because all the facilities are available, it is easy to live there, so it is thickly populated. Many towns and cities are located in the plains. In the plains, many towns and cities are located because their transportation system and other facilities are easily available, so there are many towns and cities are there. Many important civilizations developed near river banks in the past. For example, Egyptian civilization developed on the banks of the river Nile. In old time, the people started living in the past. People started living in the near the river banks because it was easy for them to settle there. They can get everything near the rivers. So that's why civilization in the past people started living in the near the river. It is example of Egyptian civilization. The people of the Egypt first started living near the river Nile, which is in the Egypt. Plains are suitable for the construction of roadways and railways. I already told you, because it is very easy to make the roadways and railways in the plains. So that's why here people live. Here the population is more than the mountains and plateaus. So these all are the features of the plains. So today we learned about the plateaus and the plains. I hope you all understand till here. I will send you some written work, question answer, and you are supposed to do those question answer in your notebook. Thank you.